Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're plunging into what might seem like a niche area, but it's actually fascinating, the ventilation test device industry.
Hmm.
Now, these devices, they're essentially the tools for measuring airflow, pressure, air quality in buildings. Super important.
Absolutely critical for safety, efficiency, health.
Mm-hmm.
Think hospitals, clean rooms, even just office buildings.
Exactly. And our guide today is this really comprehensive report from Cognitive Market Research. It gives us sales figures from 2021, projections for 2025, and even way out to 2033.
A good long view.
Right. So our mission is to pull out the key insights, really important stuff from this analysis. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I think, is how looking at a specific market like this gives you a read on broader things like the economy, regulations, what society's prioritizing.
That's a great point.
Even in specialized areas, the numbers, especially those KGRs, the compound annual growth rates, tell a story.
Right, the CAGR gives you that sort of average yearly growth, smooths out the bumps.
It's exactly, shows the underlying trend.
Okay, so let's start big picture. Globally, the ventilation test device industry generated roughly $149.4 million back in 2021.
Okay.
Looking ahead, the report sees that growing pretty significantly to nearly $177.3 million by 2025, and then pushing further to about $249.6 million by 2033.
Yeah, quite an increase.
It is, and here's where it gets really interesting. That translates to a global compound annual growth rate of 4.37%.
So that 4.37% isn't just, a random number. It signals really steady, consistent growth.
Stable.
Very stable. It suggests demand is solid, not just some fleeting trend.
Yeah.
The report actually points to things like, tighter air quality rules globally, especially after the pandemic.
Makes sense.
And also more smart buildings using advanced ventilation. It's driven by health and efficiency needs. It's fundamental.
Okay, so from that global view, let's zoom in. Starting with North America.
Sure.
All right, North America overall. Sales were about $55.4 million in 2021, projected to climb over $64.6 million in 2025, and then hit around $87.8 million by 2033. That's a CIGR of just under 4%, 3.916% to be exact.
Interesting. And within North America.
Right.
Because the U.S. is usually the giant, but not always the fastest mover.
That's exactly what the data shows. It's interesting. The U.S., yeah, it's the biggest chunk. It goes from about $44.6 million up to nearly $70 million by 2033. Steady growth, CAGR around 3.8%.
Right.
But look at Canada, smaller market, sure, starts just over $6 million, but it's projected to hit over $10 million, and its CAGR is higher, 4.6%.
Ah, okay. So faster growth there. Any idea why?
The report suggests maybe more aggressive building code updates or perhaps new large commercial projects really focusing on air quality.
That tracks. Could be policy driving it.
And Mexico's growing steadily too, around 4.1% CAGR, starting at $4.8 million, heading towards $7.8 million.
So even within one region, you see these different dynamics playing out. Those faster growing segments like Canada here often show where things might be heading.
Good point. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic, Europe.
Right.
Total European market, about $32.1 million in 2021.
Okay.
That's seen advancing to over $37.2 million in 2025, and then reaching nearly $50.7 million by 2033. The overall CAGR there is similar to North America's, around 3.9%.
But Europe's rarely uniform, is it? I bet the country breakdown shows a lot of variation.
Oh, absolutely. It's a real patchwork. If we connect this to the bigger picture, like you said, it shows just how diverse the market conditions are. Different adoption rates, different regulations.
Exactly. Not a monolithic market at all.
You really see it in the numbers. Germany, for example, really stands out. Highest CAGR in Europe at 4.65%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's set to grow from about $6.1 million to over $10.3 million by 2033. Probably that strong industrial base, focus on efficiency.
Makes sense. Engineering focus.
Then you've got the other end, Russia, much slower growth, about 2.9% AGR, reaching just over $3.3 million.
Right.
And Luxembourg, tiny market, growing at only 2%.
Okay.
But most of the others, UK, France, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, they're kind of in that middle range. KGR is between, say, 3.3% and 4.3%.
So mature but still expanding steadily.
Yeah, like the UK is 4.27%, Spain 4.25%, Sweden 4.1%, France a bit lower at 3.4%, Italy 3.6%. It's that range, like you said, that highlights why you need to look deeper than the regional total. Germany's strength versus slower areas tells different stories.
Precisely. Investment priorities may be existing infrastructure, lots of factors.
Okay, now brace yourself for a shift. We're heading to Asia Pacific.
The growth engine.
Exactly what the report calls it. Fastest among major regions. Overall, APAC market was around $37.2 million in 21,
Right.
projected to surge past $45.6 million in 2025, and hit an impressive $68.9 million by 2033.
And the CI.
A whopping 5.279% for the region overall.
That really is leading the pack. And it's not just numbers, right? That kind of growth implies massive development, industrialization.
And probably a bigger focus on air quality standards, worker safety too.
Definitely. They're building on infrastructure, and that drives demand for these testing devices.
And you see it so clearly country by country. Get this. India has the strongest CAGR in the entire report, 6.115%.
Whoa.
Yeah. Market rising from about $5.2 million to over $10.6 million by 2033.
That's huge. What's driving that specifically?
Report suggests, well, booming economy, huge construction efforts, and maybe a bigger push for international standards as the industries mature.
Makes perfect sense. Scale of development there is enormous.
China's also very strong, of course. Largest market in APAC growing at 5.48%, from roughly $10.7 million up to over $20.2 million.
Still massive growth.
And you've got other hotspots, too. Singapore, nearly 5.7% CAGR. The broader Southeast Asia region, 5.8% CAGR.
Right.
Japan's a bit more moderate, though still healthy at 4.7% CAGR. It's a big market, reaching about $12.6 million by 2033. Australia, Taiwan, rest of APAC, all showing strong growth, too, around 4-5%.
So it's widespread growth across the region, fueled by urbanization, industrial development.
And that growing middle class demanding better environments, it paints a powerful picture.
It really does.
Okay, changing continents again. Let's head to South America.
All right. Smaller market overall, I imagine.
Yes, smaller, but still growing nicely. Reported about $9.5 million in 2021.
Okay.
Expected to reach over $11.4 million in 2025 and around $16.5 million by 2033. That's a solid CAGR of 4.65%.
That's quite healthy. It shows how these developing markets are increasingly contributing to the global picture. More focus on industrial safety, building efficiency.
Yeah, seems so. Brazil is the biggest player, naturally, growing from $4.1 million to over $7 million by 2033, about 4.5% CAGR.
Steady.
But Argentina actually has the highest CAGR in South America, 5.18%.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, projected to grow from about $1.7 million to over $3.1 million.
Oh, what's driving that spike in Argentina? Specific investments, maybe.
Could be. The report doesn't specify, but it's a notable outlier. Chile and Peru also have good growth rates, near 5% and 4.5%. So Areeb is definitely adopting these tools.
Good to see. Healthy growth across the board there.
Onwards to the Middle East.
Okay.
Overall market there, around $8 million in 2021.
Right.
Expected to rise over $9.6 million in 2025 and hit about $13.7 million by 2033. CAGR is 4.54%.
Pretty solid growth again.
I-
And I suspect some countries there are investing heavily in new infrastructure.
You suspect correctly, especially the UAE.
Quad so. Smart cities, big construction projects.
Exactly. The UAE leads the Middle East with a 5.2% CAGR, going from about $1.3 million to nearly $2.4 million by 2033.
That points to significant investment and focus on building standards.
Definitely. Saudi Arabia and Turkey are also strong performers.
Love
Some
her.
Qatar's around 4.6% and 4.9% respectively. Egypt's around 4.1%, Qatar 4.3%. Lots of development happening.
It really speaks to that modernization push in the region, building high-tech, sustainable infrastructure.
Okay, our final region, Africa.
Right.
Overall figures were around $7 million in 2021, projected to get over $8.6 million in 2025, and almost $11.9 million by 2033. The CAGR is 4.06%.
So growing maybe from a smaller base, but showing that increasing focus on health, safety, infrastructure development.
Seems to be the trend. It mirrors what we see globally. Better environments are becoming a priority everywhere.
As urbanization and industry grow.
South Africa leads the continent here, 4.6% CAGR, expected to grow from just under $3 million to over $5.3 million by 2033.
Okay, significant share there.
And Nigeria is also growing steadily, 4.25% CAGR, reaching over $2.3 million. The rest of Africa category grows a bit slower, around 3.3%.
So key hubs like South Africa and Nigeria are driving much of that growth. Makes sense. They're building rapidly and quality control becomes more important.
Exactly. It's an emerging market with growing needs.
Right.
So let's try and wrap this all up. What does this all mean? This deep dive, based on the Cognitive Market Research Report, it really paints a clear picture, doesn't it?
It does. Consistent, widespread growth globally.
Yeah, from 2021 right through to 2033. We see North America and Europe, the mature markets, showing steady increases.
Stable, reliable growth.
But Asia-Pacific is clearly the leader in rate of growth. Countries like India, China, Southeast Asia really powering ahead.
Undeniably the hotspot.
It's a market that, yeah, it's specialized, but it reflects these huge global trends: health, safety, energy efficiency, big infrastructure projects.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought maybe for you listening.
Okay.
We've looked at the numbers, the regions, the obvious drivers like regulations and construction. But beyond that, what underlying societal shifts or, changing priorities do you think are really fueling this? Could it be climate concerns, new ideas about urban planning, even just how we think about personal well-being?
That's a great question.
Where might those deeper factors take this market next in the decades to come? Something to consider. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.